For 50 years, I thought the city was keeping me alive. But at 72, I realized it was slowly wearing me down.
I spent most of my life believing that noise meant progress, that movement meant purpose, that a day with too much quiet was a day wasted. For more than 50 years, the rhythm of my life was built on footsteps hitting pavement, subway doors slamming shut, co-workers calling my name from across busy hallways. I used to tell people, half joking, silence makes me nervous. But when I turned 72, I learned something I never expected. Silence was the one thing my body had been begging for. I retired at the end of winter. People congratulated me, shook my hand, slapped my back, and told me I'd earned my rest. But rest never came. The first morning of retirement, I sat in my apartment watching the sun come up between two buildings, and for the first time in my life, I realized I didn't know what to do with myself. I kept checking the time, waiting for a meeting that no longer existed. Within a month, little things started happening. I wasn't sleeping much. My chest felt tight, like I couldn't quite exhale all the way. I'd get these strange headaches behind my eyes. Some days I'd stand at the kitchen sink and feel so tired I had to sit down. I told myself it was normal, just adjustment. After all, who retires and immediately knows how to be still? But the truth was harder. I didn't know how to live without stress. Doctors ran tests. Everything looked fine for my age. They told me to get fresh air, sleep more, relax. Relax. The one thing I had no idea how to do. And somewhere in all that discomfort, something else happened. Something quieter. Something I didn't talk about. The city I once loved began to feel too loud, too fast, too sharp around the edges. I'd walk outside and feel swallowed by noise I couldn't escape. Sirens, construction drills, people shouting into the wind. It wasn't that anything had changed. The city was the same. I was the one who had finally slowed down enough to notice how much it was taking from me. One afternoon, during yet another doctor visit, my physician sat down, looked at me, not my chart, not the computer, and said gently, "Your body is stressed in ways you've ignored for decades. Maybe you need a different environment, somewhere slower." I laughed at first. Me? Leave the city? I'd built my life on crowded sidewalks and fast lunches and quick decisions. But he wasn't smiling. He said, "Your body is asking for peace you never gave it." Those words stayed with me long after I left his office. I kept hearing them while standing in my apartment, listening to the upstairs neighbor drop something heavy, listening to the traffic 10 stories below, listening to the elevator ding through the thin walls. And one night, after another restless sleep, I whispered to myself, what if he's right? A week later, I packed a small suitcase and drove to the place I hadn't visited in decades, my childhood home in the countryside. The drive felt strange at first, like I was going backward instead of forward. Towns got smaller, roads widened into long stretches of quiet, and every mile felt like something inside me was loosening, one knot at a time. When I finally turned onto the old gravel road leading to the house, I saw the same wooden porch, the same maple tree out front, the same slow breeze moving through the grass. The house looked older, of course. So was I. But there was a warmth in it, as if nothing about it judged the years I'd been gone. That first night, I slept with the window open. No sirens, no engines, no voices carrying through the hallway. Just crickets, a soft wind, and a silence so deep it felt like medicine. The next morning, I woke up before sunrise. Not because of an alarm, not because of stress. I just woke up. I stepped outside barefoot onto the damp ground. For the first time in years, I felt my shoulders drop, as if my body finally believed it was allowed to rest. Within a week, I was sleeping through the night. My headaches grew lighter. My breathing eased. My appetite returned. There was no miracle, just nature, stillness, and time. 3 things I had never allowed into my adult life. I started taking slow walks each morning, letting the air fill my chest in a way the city never could. I spent afternoons fixing small things around the house, listening to the trees move, learning how to cook again for no reason, except that it felt good. With every quiet day that passed, I felt more like myself. Not the man I pretended to be for decades, but the man I'd forgotten I was. And somewhere in that peace, something profound happened. I realized the city didn't fail me. I had outgrown what it demanded of me. For 50 years, I believed strength meant pushing through, staying busy, keeping up. But here, in the quiet, I learned that real strength sometimes means slowing down enough to hear what your own body has been trying to say. I learned that healing doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like a slower morning, a deeper breath, a softer heart. Today, at 72, I live here full-time. I tend to a small garden. I write memories in a notebook my daughter gave me. I watch the sky change color in the evenings, and I feel a kind of peace I didn't know existed. And every now and then, someone asks me if I regret leaving the city. I tell them no. The city gave me a life, but the countryside gave me back my health, my clarity, and the time to finally be gentle with myself. If there's one thing I want anyone listening to this to hear, it's this. Listen to the place where your body feels safe. Don't wait for a crisis to choose peace. And remember that changing your environment isn't giving up. It might be the most courageous step you ever take. Because sometimes, the place that saves you is the place you left behind.